Welcome back, students. I am your SST teacher Vandana Joshi and you are watching SST Zone. Students, in our previous video of chapter Civilizing the Natives, Educating the Nation, we have studied about the Orientalist and the linguistic during the British period. We have also studied how the Britishers want to introduce the new education policy in India. So now today we are going to more about that policy and ideas which were followed by the Britishers in India and who were the reformers in India during that time. So let's start our today's topics. According to some historians, the British government's only motive behind spreading modern education policy was to create a class of educated Indian who would help to Britishers in their work. So for that work, a study had been done by the Britishers in which they saw the Indian literature, law, rules and regulation, philosophy and old education system of India, which was included the Guru Shishya system and the Gurukul and the Pathshala system. So Britishers have absorbed the wholesale education system of India. After seeing the system, they introduced a new education policy. So let's see what was the new education policy which was introduced by the Britishers and what were the benefits of that education policy. Actually, the new education policy which was introduced by the Britishers, it was meant for producing clerks for the British administration. The expenditure fixed for education was extremely merged, due to which hardly any primary school existed. Thus, mass education and education at initial levels suffered. As the elementary education was neglected by the Britishers, near about 90% of Indian population remained illiterate. Most of schools and colleges were located in the urban areas and the provisions for the education of girls was few. The stress on English also tended to create a gap between the English educated Indian and non English educated Indians. The British also thought that English educated Indians would be supported of the British rule. There were not only the Britishers, there were more Indians, like thinkers in India who wanted a widespread of education. Some thinkers actually felt that Western education would help modernize India. They asked the British to open more educational institutions. Some wanted alternative systems of education to be created for people so that they had a chance of being educated through a system that was truly national. In spite of its serious drawbacks, English education had some positive features. It brought English educated Indian into contact with modern knowledge as well as with modern ideas of liberty, equality, and nationalism, also the democracy. English became a language of communication among educated Indians living in different parts of India. Later, it helped in the development of nationalism in India. So, let's see how it became a part of nationalism in India. So, students, as already I told you, there were not only the Britishers who were thinking about the Indian education. Many Indian thinkers were there who were believing on the British education system. Mahatma Gandhi ji, Rabindranath Tagore, Ishwarchand Vidyasagar, Dayanand Saraswati, Swami Vivekanand, Rajaram Mohan Rai, many were there. Those were the thinker, also we can say the reformer during that time about the education for the Indian people. So let's see what was the education scheme introduced by the Britisher on the point of view. Mahatma Gandhi ji and Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore's. So let's see what was the thinking about the national education by Mahatma Gandhi ji. Mahatma Gandhi said Western education creates a sense of inferiority and enslave Indians. Gandhiji wanted a system of education which would help Indians to regain their sense of dignity and pride. He wanted Indians to develop self respect for their own culture and education. Gandhiji believed that Indian education had made Indian stranger in their own land. He stressed on oral knowledge rather than reading from the textbooks, followed by writing, which the English emphasized. According to Gandhiji, craft, art, health, and education should all be integrated into one scheme. This scheme was called Nai Talim, or we can say New Educational Program. He wanted Indians to develop their own educational institution to promote national education. Now let's see what are the views of Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore on the British education system. The another prominent scholar promoting Indian education was Rabindranath Tagore. He wanted the student to learn in an informal environment in tune with nature. To realize his vision, he established an educational institute called Vishwabharati at Shantiniketan in Bolpur, Bengal in 1901. He called it an abode of peace, where children could learn and live and develop their talent in harmony with nature. While Mahatma Gandhi was totally against Western education system and its worship of machines and technology, Tagore tried to combine elements of modern Western civilization with what he saw the best within the Indian tradition. He stressed the need to teach science and technology along with art, music, and dance at Shantiniketan. Many other Indians also gave their opinion on what sort of an educational system should be set for India. This debate continued even after independence. If we see one more point of view from Satish Chandra Mukherjee, he founded the Organization of National Council of Education as NCE in 1906. He also established the National College and School under NCE at Calcutta. Its aim included importing educational through the easy learning medium. English was retained as a compulsory second language. The practice of giving practical knowledge relating to different subjects was also started. So, it was the basic idea in which he has included the physical science, liberal art, culture, and humanism. Also, he has included the ancient Indian history, philosophy, economics, politics, arts, and the science. So students, here we have seen how the Britishers has introduced a new language in our country which is now known as the global language. So here our chapter Civilizing the Natives, Educating the Nation is complete. We will study more about the Britishers and our history in our next video. So for that, keep watching SST June.